Have you ever looked around and felt like something was off, but you couldn't explain why? Like you woke up in a version of life that looks familiar on the surface, but somehow underneath it all feels different, as if the world shifted a degree to the left while you were sleeping. Time stretches, people behave differently, your thoughts echo louder than before, and what you imagine starts to show up in strange, undeniable ways. You're not losing your mind. You're becoming aware of something ancient, something powerful, something most people are too distracted to notice. Reality is not fixed. It never was. What you call life is not one continuous line, but a flickering stream of frames like scenes in a movie reel moving so quickly that they appear smooth. But you aren't just watching the film. You're changing it with every thought, every belief, every emotion. You're not walking through time. You're shifting through realities. Each moment offers a different version of the world, and whether you realize it or not, you've been surfing these currents all your life. Now, though, you're beginning to feel it. The curtain is pulling back, and something within you is starting to remember. You're not imagining the shift, you're experiencing it. You're becoming more sensitive to the structure of the universe, its rhythm, its mirrors, its invisible mechanisms. That sense of disconnection, déjà vu, or heightened awareness you feel is not chaos. It's the sound of your soul retuning its frequency. The world isn't falling apart. It's rearranging around your expanding perception. And now more than ever, you're being asked to wake up and choose which version of life you want to live in. This awakening, the subtle sense that something is different, often begins with a crack in the illusion of time. You've been trained to believe that life moves in a straight line, but to change how frequency you're vibrating on to receive it. Otherwise, you can't linear the same script, something far more fluid. Think, time doesn't flow. They're the remoters like pages in the when your belief motive is its own real perception, complete, and when your propulsion shift and you need your experience of reality. What you call movement is simply your consciousness shift the outer world frame to another valid enough and told the appearance not continuity. It's receiving of reality like channel mirrors or inner alignment. All the channels already exist by frame. They're not created when you just walking into the future. Tune in, you're selecting it. Likewise, the version of reality where you are field, every story you love that is stressful, you're already existential into form. It's not somewhere far away. That's why the shift feels so real right now. Your awareness is sharpening. You're no longer sleepwalking through the program. You're waking up to the fact that you're the one holding the remote. And with that awakening comes a strange dizziness, a kind of spiritual vertigo. Things you once believed start to fall apart, certainties unravel, people change, and all of it is part of the process of moving to a new level of consciousness, a new frequency where reality responds in real time to the truth you hold within. This illusion of continuity, the belief in a solid linear timeline, begins to dissolve when you start noticing the small cracks in your daily experience. You feel it when time speeds up or slows down without warning, when memories blur, when your familiar world responds differently to your thoughts, your emotions, your presence. The shift you're feeling isn't in your imagination. It's in your energetic field. And as your internal state changes, so does the version of reality you align with. Right now, collective consciousness is in transition. That's not just a poetic idea. It's a measurable rise in awareness across the planet. More people are waking up to their energetic nature, their creative power, and their connection to something beyond the material. This global awakening amplifies the shift for everyone. Like a rising tide that lifts all boats, you're being pulled into a higher frequency, whether you planned for it or not. That strange pressure in your chest, the waves of emotion, the sense that something is about to change. That's your inner being reorienting itself to a new version of reality. You might find that your old habits suddenly feel unbearable. Relationships shift without clear reason. Goals that once excited you begin to fade, making space for something you can't yet name. This is what it feels like when your consciousness begins to dislodge from a reality that no longer fits. And it's not comfortable. You're outgrowing an energetic skin. The version of reality you once aligned with is starting to collapse, and your nervous system feels the gap before your mind can explain it. The boundaries between thoughts and outcomes are thinning. You think and things happen, not always in dramatic ways, but in subtle, undeniable echoes. You feel a person, and they text you. You imagine an outcome, and it appears in fragments within days. This is not coincidence, it's coherence. The more aligned you become, the faster the feedback loop gets. The universe is no longer filtered through layers of unconscious delay. It's mirroring your internal state with growing speed and accuracy. You're feeling like your reality is shifting now because your perception is catching up to what's always been true. That reality is not something you move through. It's something that moves with you. You're becoming sensitive to the frames as they flicker. You're hearing the hum beneath the film strip. You're not just watching the show anymore. You're stepping into the projection room. And the more you sense this, the more alive and unstable reality begins to feel. But instability isn't danger. It's possibility. You're not being undone. You're being retuned. Once you pass through that energetic refinement, once the noise settles and the old version of you begins to fade, you're left with a deeper truth. The truth that nothing you're asking for is outside of you. Nothing needs to be created from scratch. Everything you desire already exists. Every possibility, every timeline, every version of your life, it's all here, layered within the now, waiting for your alignment. You've been taught that you must create your future, that your dreams are somewhere in the distance, waiting for you to build a bridge to them. But the deeper truth is this: you don't create your reality. You select it. Every possible outcome already exists. Infinite versions of you are already living infinite versions of your life. Your job is to choose which one you're aligning with right now. Nothing is missing. Nothing is far away. Every possibility is present in the quantum field, waiting to be activated by your belief. The more you think something is far from you, the more you keep yourself tuned to the channel where it's missing. Believing you're separate from what you want keeps you locked in the reality where it isn't. And so the gap remains, not because it's real, but because you're vibrating with it. When you begin to understand this, everything changes. You stop chasing outcomes. You stop begging life to give you signs. Instead, you become intentional with your frequency. You shift your focus from what's lacking to what's already true in a parallel version of yourself. Not pretending, not fantasizing, but tuning your energy genuinely to the self who already is. This is why your current beliefs, thoughts, and emotional set point matter more than ever, because they are the ingredients your reality is being made of. What you assume to be true about yourself and life is what you'll continue to perceive. It's not personal, it's vibrational. And the universe is simply matching the song you're singing with your energy. When you begin to realize that everything already exists, you start to look at your current experience differently. You stop asking, why isn't it here yet? And start asking, why am I only seeing this version of it? Because even though all realities exist simultaneously, you can only perceive the one you're currently tuned into. And that's where your energy field and perception come in. Science tells us that there are roughly 15 million bits of information in your environment at any given moment. But your mind, your lens of perception, only processes about 40 of them. Not the most important 40, not the true 40, just the ones that match your beliefs, emotions, and frequency. In other words, your reality isn't showing you what's real. It's showing you what you're aligned with. This is why reality often feels like a loop, why patterns repeat, why certain types of people, experiences, or limitations seem to follow you from year to year. You're not cursed. You're just locked into a particular set of 40 bits. And because your senses keep feeding you the same version of life, you believe that's all there is. But the moment your frequency changes, even subtly, you begin to pull in different bits, new people, new outcomes, new pathways that were always there, just not visible to your previous self. This is also why you may be feeling like your reality is shifting now more than ever, because the old bits no longer resonate. The patterns you once danced with don't feel like home anymore. You're outgrowing the old frequency, and your field is searching for a new alignment. That search creates a strange friction, a feeling that something is both falling apart and coming together at the same time. You're seeing glimpses of new timelines, feeling the pull of a different rhythm, and it can feel surreal, even disorienting. But that disorientation is sacred. It means the hologram is stretching, your perception is expanding, the filter is being rewritten, and as you become more conscious of what you're choosing to align with through your thoughts, emotions, actions, and energy, you begin to access different layers of the field, different 40 bits, a different reflection, not because life changed, but because you did. As your perception expands and the hologram begins to reveal more of itself, you may start to feel both excited and overwhelmed. The familiar no longer fits, but the new hasn't fully stabilized yet. You're between frequencies, no longer who you were, not yet fully anchored in who you're becoming. This is the in-between space where most people get lost unless they learn how to tune. And that tuning begins with stillness. Meditation isn't just a spiritual ritual. It's energetic recalibration. When everything around you is shifting, meditation becomes the anchor that holds you steady while your internal reality reorganizes. It's where the noise of the old timeline softens and the signal of the new one becomes clearer. In silence, you begin to meet the version of yourself that exists beyond identity, beyond story. Not the you shaped by the past, but the you aligned with the frequency of what you're stepping into. Think of meditation as a mirror, not of what's outside, but of what you're carrying inside. In that quiet space, you come face to face with the emotional residue, outdated beliefs, and energetic debris that still keep you linked to the old timeline. But more importantly, you also touch the spaciousness beneath it all, the part of you that's never been confused or afraid. That part holds the key to alignment. Because the shift you're feeling now isn't demanding effort, it's asking for attunement. When you meditate regularly, you begin to notice subtle changes. Reactions soften, intuition sharpens, synchronicities increase. Why? Because your energy is becoming coherent. And when coherence increases, the outer world must reflect it. You start to meet the right people, make aligned choices, and feel drawn to environments that match the version of reality you've tuned into. Not because you forced it, but because you became the frequency. So if your world feels like it's in flux, if things feel unfamiliar, if emotions rise unexpectedly, if you sense something bigger unfolding, return to stillness. Not to escape it, but to stabilize it. Let meditation be the sacred space where the shifting makes sense, because you're not just watching your reality change, you're participating in its recreation. And in that still, quiet place within you, the next version of your life is already taking form. You feel like your reality is shifting because it is. You're tuning into a new version of life, one where the rules are different, the feedback is instant, and the possibilities are infinite. You're not broken, you're not behind. You're simply waking up to the truth that was always there, waiting for you to see it. The world isn't falling apart. It's rearranging itself around your rising awareness. You're not who you were yesterday, and you won't be the same tomorrow. Every moment is an invitation to choose, to feel, to align. And the more you do, the more clearly you'll see. Your reality has never been fixed. It's always been waiting for you to claim it.